Hello, 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 my beauties. I'm still getting set up, trying to find the best light in my apartment. And it's hilarious because where I'd want to be by the window, there's not a place for me to place you guys, for me to place my laptop or put a camera. So I was like, wait, why don't I just sit on the sofa? But it's a bit far. Hold on. It's a bit far from the window, but let me know if I think the light is good. It's a little boring background. Okay. Listen, it's not my own apartment. I actually have a beautiful, actually, I'll show you guys. I have a nice Buddha, wall hanging that I brought from home that is important to me, and I haven't put it up. Hold on. Let's see. It's so funny what you plan to talk about, and then I totally lead off with something else. So also let me know if you like my frock. I'll stand up in a little bit. So as some of you know, first of all, welcome, say hi in the chat. I am literally traveling with carry-on. Mm, everything I have fits in a red rolling cart, which I have the link to below. Though I think I accidentally shut my Amazon account when I was leaving. I was trying to close some things, but a really good rolling luggage by I think it's called Swiss Gear. And then I have a backpack, you guys. At my age, and that's it. That's all I have, and the rest of my stuff is stored. Okay, so welcome. I am Viv. I'm the Quiet Broad Abroad, and I'm just jumping in like you know me, but here's my poster. It's not a poster, it's just a fabric hanging. And obviously, it's easy for me to carry because I can fold it, right? And I truly am a minimalist. People who know me, are like, you are a minimalist. So, um, I actually think Rashida Dow was saying this in one of her videos. It's true. When you are looking to move abroad or you're going to slow travel, do not try to bring all your furniture right away or decide, oh, I'm going to live in Madrid or oh, I'm going to live in Lisbon. And so I'm just going to ship my sofa and all my American stuff. Don't do that. You don't have to be as minimal as I am, but but still, hold on. So let's see who's here. Please say hi. Say hi in the chat as you come in. And let me also close some tabs. Let me close a few because I have like a million zillion tabs open. I know Nidra is here. Welcome. Nice to have you here. And I'll close that one. Okay. Yeah, I'm happy to be here. And my dress, hold on. The Albanian ladies, especially I would say over probably about 50, they're very much into dresses. And this is not, I wouldn't say necessarily, obviously not traditional, but a lot of the dresses are bright colors, patterns. Um, in the US, I wasn't really a dress girl. I actually like skirts, like loose skirts, because I like to sit with my legs crossed and like loose skirts are very comfortable. But anyway, these Albanian ladies convinced me. Now this color, they're like, oh, that's the color on you. So I'm wearing it with a tank top. So that looks kind of funny, but it's this beautiful sort of Greek type print. Let me move you guys back. Hold on. Hold on. I have you're seated on a chair. If I'll be able to, I'm gonna go up on, yeah, you can see, right? So it's sort of this Greco pattern, but the Albanian ladies convinced me that I saw the color and I was like, it's really intense. But anyway, I got it. But usually I don't go for an intense blue. I like hot pink actually very much. This is very different for me, and it's my little like my moo. So it's really comfy. So let me know if you like it. And let me take comments and questions and then I'll jump in. So, yes, yes, yes. Hello. Thank you. Thank you, Permission to Leave. Oh, I love that. I love that. Is that I love that channel name, Permission to Leave. Let me know more about what you're sharing on that on your channel, and I'll put it up, okay? And probably a couple hundred people will see this. We'll see. Now I did a live yesterday. So I probably wore people out because I went live because I was bored and I'd had too much caffeine. This is the honest to God truth. I can't help myself. And then, so I was like, okay, I do that. It will be fun. And I didn't have a topic for today's live. And so I was like, well, give me questions. So I probably wore some of, we had a very lively discussion. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to answer these questions. It's for tomorrow. Because my live is typically on Sunday and about 3 or 4 my time. I am 6 hours ahead, you guys, of Eastern time. Okay. So thank you. Yeah, it's an intense blue. Listen, I haven't worn it out yet. And like I said, I don't really like how I have to figure out like how to wear it. I mean it, yeah, you know, but yeah, it's like my moo from the 60s when just hang around your house. It's a house dress. But actually with a belt, I think it would be very nice. But loose, I feel it's just not it's like too almost not shapeless. But believe me, when I tell you it's comfortable, oh, very comfy. Very, very comfy. Yeah, and it is a beautiful blue. It's not a color. Hey, beautiful love. How are you? It's nice to see you. How are you? What's going on? Share a little bit that you feel comfortable sharing on the internet. But yes, it's an intense color. And I think it is, again, this is stuff women would be interested in, right? So maybe I'll get into it more later and I'll start off with just the questions that I had. Well, I can talk more about the clothing in Albania, right? Because that's some stuff I'd want to know. So please do put some more questions in the chat. Just put a Q. Okay, guys, and welcome if you're just joining. I am the Quiet Broad Abroad. My name is Viv. The channel is mostly aimed at women over 50 who are traveling solo. I'm going to talk a little bit about that because I'm really, really getting into my feelings, my feels about some stuff that's happening. So I want to share that maybe a little deeper into the video. Um, but yeah, I am currently in Albania. I have been, because I realized I wasn't saying that. People think, oh, you just landed in Albania or whatever. I was in the UK for months, about 4 or 5 months. I'm not good with time like that. I also had previously traveled to Italy to like explore, but that wasn't so much slow travel. So just say Italy, France was slow travel. I went to one town and stayed because slow travel means you rest. Okay, so that's what I talk about here specifically is slow travel. And as I said, I want to talk about a little bit about what's happening in Europe right now that I still see some of my fellow in this area aren't really talking much about. And they don't want to talk about it, one, because it's a real downer. Um, and two, I think it's going to change the shape of relocation and expat. Okay, so stick around for that. I have been talking about it. Oh, yeah, tell me. So I'm having guys it is really nice. It is an Albanian company. I found like a health food herb company. Of course I had to. Of course. That I really like and it's lavender that you can brew as a tea. I made sure it's food grade and chamomile and then I mix them in different proportions and I put a little ginger because from the Caribbean you always need to have a little ginger and stuff. Helps your digestion, cuts mucus, all of that, right? So hold on. And so I have random lavender bits floating around, which I'm gonna chew. Okay, so I basically have 3 questions, guys. And again, put your questions in the live chat if you're here with me. Just put a Q. I got questions from Maria Farlane. Hey, Maria. She said, basically, she's interested in these 2 countries, and she asked me, have you been to Georgia or Malta? Okay, so that's the first question I wanted to talk about a little bit. and I'll go off on a different direction. But I am so happy that, yeah, you're about to move, beautiful love. Do you want to say, is it state to state? Give me a little info. Hey, solo traveler, nice to see you again. So Maria McFarlane's question, have I been to Georgia or Malta? First, I want to do a little bragging because you guys, again, I'm in a foreign country and I am more of an introvert, but I definitely like to talk to people. And so I'm just meeting people a lot online. So I have a lot of info. Like I feel like I literally feel like I said to somebody, remember in old movies, guys, where the operator had the headset and she had the thing, like remember when cell phones first came out and that's how, anyway, you folks know what I'm talking about. And then, but she'd have the plug and she'd have her switchboard and she's like, hold please. And she'd click and she'd plug people in. I feel like that. I do. I feel like women of all backgrounds are talking to me. Again, I'm not going to reveal any names or anything identifying, but I'm just hearing a lot, you guys. So do ask your questions because I may have heard something about it. Okay. And you also know I started saying not boots on the ground, because I didn't like it in terms of like the military idea. So I'll say to all my women friends and connections, I'm like, you'll be my slippers on the ground or my heels. I usually don't say heels, slippers. Okay. So I have a lot of info. So ask your question, even if it's a country I haven't mentioned, because a lot of women have been like sharing with me where they've been, what they liked, what they didn't like. So her question, have I been to Georgia or Malta? No, I have not been to either. And I feel like I might have answered this question before or similar. Malta, I think, is good if you have a pretty good income. Okay. Malta is not an island for low income. All right. And I know I'm going to get some folks who want to say some nasty things about immigration. Um, I know they do have immigrants coming in. I was watching a Black woman who is a nurse there, talking about life there and just what it's like being Black in Malta. But overall, it is a very popular country, but I think you need a good amount of income. Okay, so it's not a country that I looked at for this, but I've heard very good things. One important thing about Malta, and I don't want to misstate this, guys, but it doesn't have a lot of nature. What I mean by that is just look at videos of it. It is very built up. And there's not a lot of trees. And also I watch Kirsten or Kristen. I really like her channel. She's a longtime travel expert, really. She's lived and traveled around the world. And she said that it's like not a lot of nature. It's like it's a stone. Malta is like, I think, stone or rock. And it's very tightly built up. It's quite dense, and there's not a lot of like green and park, and there's ocean. Okay, so keep that in mind if you think about it, and if you are an American with like good middle income, it could be fine. Okay, let me tip you guys back a little bit. It could be fine. So and I can talk more about that because, like I said, I am a geek about this. I watch a lot of videos and have done a lot of research on places. I did mention in my previous video that I was excuse me, guys, I was intuitively drawn to Malta for more like just a spiritual reason. But that was years ago. I literally didn't know where the country was. And then, as I explained in another video, literally one of my astrological lines, astrocartography, when I tell you goes through the island, and Malta is small. It really is a small island. The line, like it doesn't go through the ocean next to it, it goes through Malta. And I would have dreams about being in Malta. And I'm a very spiritual person. But now I'm not drawn to it, but there is a smaller island called Valletta. And Valletta is more nature, but it's a small island, and to go anywhere you've got to fly. And I don't like that idea. And I think a couple people have said, again, still talking about Malta, that it can start to feel small. So that's what I know about Malta and Valletta. And I did interview a sister who lived there. She found it too small. her husband, she met him in America, he's Italian, and then she moved out of the US. I do have that interview. Where the heck is that interview? Guys, I actually think I have that on my other channel. Anyway, she's really, really interesting. Her sister had passed, and that somehow came into play also with her feeling like, you know what, I'm gonna do this great adventure, right? So she met the Italian dude uh in a library randomly, like a really one of those random meetings, and they moved to Malta, liked it, but just found it too small for them. And I forget where they did move, but I should move that video to my channel, to this channel. I have it on the spiritual channel for some reason. Anyway, and what else? Her other question, Maria's question was about Georgia. Okay, so Georgia, you guys, is great. Hey, I see the numbers going up. Georgia is great because it gives American citizens, American passport holders, 1 year visa free. That's why I'm in Albania. It's just what that means is ease. Because if I heard that, I wouldn't even understand it. So let me break it down. It just means you're not trying to get any paperwork. You literally, and this is what Rashida, go check out her video on slow travel. It's a recent video. I'll put the link below. Okay. Um, and she gives a lot of good info, and a lot of the stuff that I've shared with you as well about slow travel, how it can work, why it's actually better than hopping around and, oh, I'm going to scout for 1 week. It's like, no, you're going to spend almost as much money for 1 week as if you stayed a month. Like, just trust us. So check out her video. I will put that below. But visa free just means you can just pack up and pack your stuff and buy a flight to Albania. I know. I know. It's and at the border, I will share this. So I was nervous, of course. I was just nervous at the border. I believe maybe it was one other person, maybe a person of African descent on the plane. I'm not sure. I land, brand new country. Albanian is a notoriously difficult language. Beautiful, but difficult. Okay, it's not French. It's not Italian. It is not that level. It's harder. I will fight anybody about that. It's a harder language. Get off the plane, guys. And I'm in my 60s. I was a little nervous. Get off the plane, and immediately an American woman starts to talk to me. Ended up with her number. Oh, I'm a teacher here in Albania. I think she just felt like, let me orient this woman. Very, very nice lady. And also to connect you guys with Stephanie Perry, she just did a video about how you have to have some trust if you want to move abroad. And I really mean that. You can't go abroad like I'm going to fight you. And I see some Americans like that. I do. That's a whole other aside, but I'm serious. I can see it. But anyway, I landed and this woman just started talking to me, and I was a little bit like, listen, I needed money. I needed Albanian lek because the currency is a closed currency. What the hell does that mean? I've never heard of that. What, closed? I tried to get it when I was in England, and they're like, you can't have it. And I was like, why can't I have it? And they're like, it's a closed currency. I'm like, closed to who? What? It's not used out, it's not traded or used in any outside of the country, guys. So I'm there, I'm looking at these currencies. They're different ATMs. There's like 5 ATMs when you land at the Albanian airport. Two of them didn't work. Okay, I tried those. So this woman comes up to me, she starts talking to me, and I was like, lady, I need to get some cash here. I'm in a new country. I don't know what's going on. And she was so nice. So I really appreciate that. So stay open. So about Georgia and Albania, visa free, you land, to finish my story. You land there, right? And I was like, they're gonna look at me like, why are you here? Nothing. As of now, I'm filming this in July of 2026. Of course, things change. I want you to know that they do. Things get tighter, they do not get looser. So if any of you feel this is something you want to do, to move abroad or slow travel just to be out of the US for a while, you can do it. Okay, you can do it. Albania is definitely worth checking out. And I have several videos on it on different cities, so check them out. So, I mean, I saw actually a short immigration officer, I guess. She was, policewoman. She was very kind of petite. And I looked at her. I got the money. I looked at her. She looked at me. And then she's like, it wasn't, what I'm trying to say is I didn't convey that right. She was just kind of like, yeah, hey, hey girl, hey. And I looked at her, she's like, really just basically ignored me. And I'm like, does somebody want to see something? Again, communism, you feel like I got to give you some paperwork. I had my passport. No, I walk through a machine barely, which I don't even think, I don't know. Yes, I must have placed my passport down, being scan, went through, and that was it. So, Georgia is too close though to Russia for me. I don't really feel comfortable with Georgia. That's basically my thought on it. But there are several channels. If you just write on YouTube, look it up. There are several channels, people of all different ages, ethnicities, um, have loved Georgia, have loved Georgia. Um, but I feel it's a little close to to Russia. So yeah. Again, ask me more questions and I can always go back and go more in detail. But yeah, I'm not comfortable. I believe it is Tbilisi is more developed, is what I've heard, than Tirana, Albania. So if you feel like you need a little more um better bus service, public transportation service, a little bit better infrastructure, people have shared that Tbilisi, Georgia has a little bit more of that versus Albania. Okay. So that question that was from Maria McFarlane. Again, ask me more questions. I've also heard the Georgian food is wonderful. Um, and they're nice. They're nice to everyone, black, brown. Of course you're gonna always find, a blank HOLE somewhere in every country, and in every color, shape, or form. You'll basically find a Karen. Let's make Karens universal. You'll find a Karen. I'm not saying you won't find a Karen. You'll find a Karen somewhere. And it could be a male Karen. I'm just letting you know. All right, let me look at your questions. Let's see. Okay, to another house with the family. Beautiful. I hope it serves you better. Beautiful love. And that I know you were trying to manifest that. I just remembered. You did it. You manifested it. I'm so glad. I know you'd wanted to move. Who else is here? Shauna 13, and welcome. Welcome, goddess. Occasionally I will say that. I know that's going to freak people out on this channel. I have a channel, Women's Spirituality, and I often would say goddess. And so sometimes I just feel like I feel like saying it. So welcome. Solo Traveler asks, and then I'll go to I have like two other questions that were asked. I have not been to Portugal. I've not, but I feel like I know a lot about Portugal. And I'm gonna be honest with you, because I am such a geek. I was talking about Portugal, or watching Portugal. No one was talking about Portugal. Like, it was really, really off the radar. It wasn't in media. It wasn't in videos. I mean, I don't even know what put it on my radar. I'm talking 15 years ago. That's how far back. But guys, I couldn't figure out, as I've said this before, now I'm on my Social Security. I am retired. I couldn't figure out, how do I work in Portugal? I don't speak Portuguese. I couldn't understand what to do. But I was looking at Portugal, and like, I didn't see anybody black talking about Portugal. And I don't even, like, I don't know what. I heard it was inexpensive about 15 years ago, and I was like, seems like a country. I feel like the people might be warm, the climate is nice. There was not a lot, and Spirit was like, check out Portugal. But like I said, I couldn't figure out how to get there. And then I watched it blow up, and I was like, Viv, you can't afford Portugal. I always say I knew I had missed the boat. I shouldn't say that. I felt I had missed the boat when I saw the New York Times literally had an article, Portugal, the next, immigrant hotspot for Americans. And I was like, New York Times, it's done. It's done. Houses are just rental, gone. All right. So I did get sad, because I was like, damn it, I didn't jump on that. We'll see though. Portugal, what Solo Traveler, what I like about Portugal, it literally has one of the lowest. There are two other countries. I might start talking about them more. But I have not been to either yet, and so I don't want to discuss them. But I am doing research for you guys. There are two other really low cost countries out there with low income requirements. And so Portugal is a requirement. Many Americans could meet it. But there's a savings requirement. I believe you have to have about 15,000 more or less in the bank. And so that is a hindrance for me. Um, now you know all my business. Now you know everything, right? I believe it's 14,000 something US, 15,000. And your income, I think in social for the retirement, the D7 needs to be about 1,000. It's under €1,000, but it translates in dollars upwards. Okay. So yeah, do your Googles, do your chat GPTs. Okay. But I do want to say to solo traveler, thank you very much for the question. I was coaching someone in my member group, which is the Broad Circle. We meet every other week. So we met yesterday and we will meet again for those of you who see this. We'll meet not this upcoming Saturday again, but in 2 weeks' time we'll meet. And you're welcome to become a member. It's open to any woman 50-ish and up. Okay. So in the Broad Circle, I was coaching someone, light coaching. It's not heavy duty coaching because it's not, it's relatively low cost, but I help, and especially whoever comes, I'm definitely going to advise. And she said, "Oh, I can't go to Portugal. Portugal was my main thing, but it's expensive now." And I'm like, "Just stop, just stop." Never, that's like saying, I don't know, Senegal's expensive. Okay, go to the capital city. I said, "Well, Lisbon is expensive. Porto is expensive. I think the Algarve, the kind of glossy beach region, I believe. I might be wrong about where it is, but there's certain expat heavy places. Go somewhere else. I'm a New Yorker. Go somewhere else. Be creative." Now, yes, you would need Portuguese, but again, Portuguese is not as hard as Albanian. Okay, that's all I'll say. I'll drop that, and then if you have other questions. So that's just the bare bones on Portugal and my thoughts. So yes, solo traveler. Yes, it has the decent. Okay. It's a little more than 950, I think, but you might be right. You might be right. The exchange rate, fluctuates, of course, with the great orange menace. The dollar, you guys, it is not just me. It is not your well, it's people, listen, expats out in these streets are like, what the hell is happening with the dollar? It is just like, phew. And yes, it'll go up a little bit, but the trajectory, you guys, is like that. Okay. So that's not good. That's not good for those of you. I know many of my viewers are on a budget. I get that. Yes, the D7 visa is absolutely close. It's something that, depending on how things suss out for me, I may be able to meet it. But yes, it isn't just the amount. You have to have savings. Like I know that for a fact because they want to be sure you can live there for the year. So you don't just have the monthly coming in, which is a low amount. Um, but you have a certain amount of savings. You have to show a rental for a year, which I think is a bit much. You have to show a rental for a year. But yeah, I've looked at it and almost got a lawyer. But then I really was like, wait, I don't have the savings. And so many people are inundating Portugal right now. They are overwhelmed, which again, as a New Yorker, that's not a reason for you not to go. It just means your process may take longer, but you're still in the country, right? So I talked this, channel member down. She admitted that yes, she's not a city person. So I said, forget it. You weren't going to go to Lisbon anyway, right? There's a suburb of Lisbon, I'm forgetting the name, equivalent, I would say, to the way the Bronx is to Manhattan. Prices are lower. I can't think of it if any of you know it. It's outside Lisbon. I'm sure it's going up as well. But there are other cities. Often a third or fourth or fifth grade city in a country is much more livable than where all the tourists pack in. The tourists pack into Lisbon. Everybody floods into Lisbon. Yeah, tourists, all the Americans want to be, they want to be there. They want to be, oh, it's the happening place or whatever. So, yeah, Portugal is that something you're considering, solo traveler? But yeah, Portugal is definitely one of the lowest. I'll throw out the others I want to tell you are low. Bulgaria, because it's a relatively poor country, also I'm pretty sure has a very low income required if you want to, it's a safe country. Um, And Romania also has a visa that if you start a business. And so there are others, of course, but some of these other countries like Croatia or Montenegro might be a little bit harder. Slovenia, there's all these really quite beautiful countries in Europe that kind of have their, stuff together. Um, but they're not, the income requirements may test some of you. And again, my viewers are of all backgrounds, as I said, and it's not just for women. If you have a woman in your life or you care about women, you want to hear women's stories. But yeah, I mostly focus on women who are over 50 who are doing this solo because it's harder. It's absolutely harder. So yeah, great question. The other question I got, it wasn't really a question, you guys. This was from, hold on, AMHB2479. Okay, thank you. She just said, she's overwhelmed with the rent increases in the US and that she's really, her struggle is how to get rid of things. But it wasn't a question. She's like, I need to get rid of things to move. Okay, so AMHB 2479. I have a video on that, and I think I did connect it to her comment. There are many things you can do, of course, when you want to move abroad. The choices are store it. I and many others do not recommend you're going to spend so much money storing your shit in a paid storage. I would store it with a dear friend or family because the money you're going to spend could almost rent you in some countries. Like what you're going to pay is what you could rent in Vietnam. You could rent a place in Vietnam for what you're going to pay to store your stuff in America. In fact, for cheaper. Does that make sense? So that's not what I'm doing. I have a friend is holding and I downsize. So you downsize, you figure out some storage. I did sell things, but people are not going to want your stuff. That's the other thing that's very painful. People don't want your stuff. I almost found Facebook Marketplace a waste of time. I think I tried Craigslist. You guys back me up on this. It takes so much time to sell an item for $20. Literally, literally, you know, a bunch of people. Is it still available? You see my ad up. Why do you think it's not available? Is that still available? Is that Vitamix blender available? Is that rug available? Oh my God. Can you meet me at such and such with it? No, I can't. I can't. Right? So I have a video about that though. I do. Yeah. Yes, I'll put up your comment. Tall teasy, exactly. I would visit. I mean, I think it's fine for a visit. Um, we travel farther together. They were there at least a month. Slow traveling, right? Slow travel implies we're putting a definition. It's 1 month minimum. 2 weeks, you don't hit the discounts. You don't hit the sweet spot of slow travel. So slow travel is typically 1 month to 3 months or even a little longer, 6 months. Yeah, it's just not calling to me. I have heard, specifically for African Americans, they felt they've been treated fine, treated well. Um, I think even a couple years ago, there were some pioneering Black women. I mean, because like maybe 3 years ago, I'm talking that I heard loved it. 3 to 5 years ago. So yeah, I think it's worth a visit though. I do think it's worth a visit for anyone. Yeah, Heather. Hey, Heather. So yeah, put your questions with a Q and I can address them. As I said, there are countries I haven't been to, but I'm like that operator connecting people. People are talking with me or gossiping with me, just chatting with me. Um, like in that way, I found out some stuff about Cuenca, Ecuador that I didn't know. Um, Scuttlebutt, about Bulgaria. I had a friend in the States who was really high on Bulgaria. Um, so I hear different things and I can share that with you from people who've been there. So let's see. Okay, cool. Actually, yeah, let me Creatrix. I want to live off grid and the locals in Costa Rica, Panama. what if I want to live off grid and the locals, but what, okay, you want to live off grid, but, and the locals in Costa Rica and Panama, do I need to meet the monthly requirement? Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, Panama is also affordable. I feel like Panama is affordable. I'm just, in some ways, it seems too Americanized to me. You guys, don't judge me. Tell me what you think about that. Tell me what you think about what I just said about Panama. Certainly, Panama City, and then with Donald Trump wanting to invade briefly, there's definitely some tensions there around that canal, and I don't want to be in a city. Boquete, I think it's Boquete, Panama, seems idyllic to me. It's the only place in the country, and David, I believe, also are two places with a strong expat presence. But Boquete is beautiful and lush, and it just looks like an Eden. I said that in another video. So, but I don't, of course, yeah, you do have to meet the monthly requirements. But when you say to enter the country, Creatrix, I mean, to visit is different. Absolutely, you can go visit. I don't know what the time is for visit. Can anybody help her? Can anybody share with Creatrix? I want to say it's 90 days, but I'm not sure, but you can do a quick Googles. To visit is different, but what we're talking about is long-term visa stay, and um yeah, I don't know what the requirement is, because I'm sorry to say, if I'm not interested in a country, I don't I don't necessarily retain, but I know Panama is pretty affordable. So Costa Rica, I would actually say, is more expensive than Panama. Again, from my intel, Costa Rica, you guys, the costs have gone up a lot in Costa Rica. Also, crime is increasing. Kristen shared that. I think her channel is Traveling with Kristen. Um, Many other folks have shared that. Stephanie Perry, I think she said that the costs had gone up in several of her videos, but other people that I don't remember. Costa Rica, right? Because it got so popular, right? So the prices just kept going up and up and up, and crime is increasing. Crime is increasing in Costa Rica, just overall. More petty crime, right? Thefts. Um, Maybe before, if you want to go swimming on the beach and you're alone, okay, what are you going to do with your money, your cell phone? Um, that type of thing is what I have heard. But so I believe Panama is cheaper. This is a good time for, let me give you some resources, guys. So this is not just about Albania. You don't have to be interested in Albania. Check out Numbeo, Numbeo, Numbeo. I'll put it at the bottom. You guys know I love to make banners. Let me see. Yeah, Numbeo. Hold on. Let me see. Wait, no, I don't want to show that. I want to edit it. Yeah, Numbeo, Numbeo.com. They are really, really good. What you need to do, and this is for the person who just asked me, let me go back, Creatrix Q, go to Numbeo.com, put in your city. They literally have intel on cost of living for cities that I think is fairly accurate. And a new friend of mine who I want to have her on the show, she said to me, and this is a tip, okay, get ready. I think this makes a lot of sense. She goes, Viv, the cost of living, they'll tell you how much are eggs, how much is this much milk, a liter of this, a kilo of apples. They tell you all of that. But she said, Viv, and the rents. And I was like, that's all I would look at. She goes, no, 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 this is what I figured out. You have to scroll all the way down on Numbeo.com, right? And you look at what is the average salary of a local, you guys. And I was like, okay, wait. So for instance, just to make up a figure, if you see the average salary of a local in the town in Bulgaria is, and you can put it in American dollars, say you see their average income is $600 and your social is 1,200. Come on. Again, I don't know you, but most of my folks watching are budget and moderate travelers. If you have double the income of a local, you should be fine. Okay, guys, let me know what you think about that if you've ever noticed that. And this woman is an accountant, and I'm not an accountant. So don't ever come to me for coaching, which I offer, but to talk about money, because it's not really my wheelhouse. But I was like, oh my God, that is so brilliant. And she mentioned it and realized it because she was in a city in one of these countries, a Balkan country, and she felt it was expensive. And then she looked, and the average income for a local was higher than her income. And she's like, Viv, if it's a local and they're making more and they know all the shortcuts, they know the cheap supermarkets, they know where to get this, where to get that, where to get appliances, yada, yada. They signed their lease 3 years ago. They're in their mom's house. Like, she's like, living in a city where the local income is higher than what you bring in as an American is a recipe for disaster, you guys. So that is a big tip. I want to thank Karen for that. That tip. She's not a Karen. I want to thank Karen for that. All right. It did blow my mind because then we looked at another city together on Numbeo.com going across the bottom, and that income was drastically lower. And we're like, whoa, whoa, okay. And I do want to say she moved to that other city. I was one of the people who recommended both cities to her, me, ChatGPT. Okay. And she's very happy in the second city that is low cost. And I'll share more about that. I just want to do more research before I start telling you guys. Okay. So yeah, Tall Teasy, I totally agree with you on your comment. I just want to put it up again. I think follow your gut. Okay. Follow your gut. Creatrix Q, yeah, clap back at me. Let me know what you think with what I shared. Yeah, and I get it. You want to live off grid. Listen, I think you're sleeping on some countries. This, I mean, I'm going to get really geeky right now. El Salvador, I know. You're like El Salvador, Viv. El Salvador is coming up. Colombia and El Salvador, but El Salvador is still off the radar. I'm telling you, it's starting to get some buzz for off-grid living, and also potentially Paraguay. Paraguay, Creatrix. Paraguay, very low cost country. And for what you're wanting, right? Off-grid living. I want to say that in Paraguay, Adventure Freaks, Adventure Freaks channel interviewed someone. They built a house on acres of land for 28,000 American. They built a house. Let me repeat that. A house. Now, I don't know. I mean, it could be a small, which is fine, probably for what you're looking for, from what you sound like you're looking for. But they were able to have a house built on at least 5 acres, if not more, for 28,000 American. Okay. It may not be for everyone, but I'm just putting that out there. Paraguay, El Salvador is coming back up again. Apparently, they really got their drug thing under control, allegedly, and Colombia. So I hope that helps, Creatrix. Let me know. Yes, yes, solo traveler, I know. There is a savings component, my love. There is a savings component. You have to have a certain amount of money in the bank, and I believe you have to deposit it in a Portuguese bank, which is okay. I would feel stable enough with Portuguese banks. I absolutely would. I believe it's about 14,000 of savings. That's separate from what you're saying. So you need what you're saying, but you also need savings to qualify for the D7. I saw it's like 90 slash 100 days for visiting in Costa. I want to move there and start a new life in the mountains. I'm hearing different things about monthly requirements to live there. That's why I asked. So Creatrix, yeah, what I would do, and I think now you've just narrowed it down to Costa Rica. As I said, Costa Rica is not your cheapest play. I'm just saying. Of course, it's your choice. Use the free ChatGPT, Creatrix. Have you done that? That's where I start, and many of the other women expats that I talk to, that I chat with, that I like liaison with, start with ChatGPT, get your general info, and then, my love, what you need to do is go to the official sites, because ChatGPT can be wrong. Usually it's correct on the overall. I then take the info from ChatGPT. I'm talking to people who want to move abroad or slow travel abroad. So welcome if you're just joining. Start with ChatGPT just because. All right. I'm not pro AI, and I might stop saying that part, but I think just for now, just use the free ChatGPT. and then take the info and do your own research by going to the official sites. And I've said this before, and this is very helpful. Okay, so make a note of what I'm saying here. So if Costa Rica is where you want to go, find a lawyer, a law firm's website that does the visas and read their info, because obviously a law firm or an accountant is going to generally give you correct info. Okay, so it should be clear. Like I was saying with Solo Traveler, I absolutely, like, if I wanted to now, I could find multiple credible websites that would tell me how much the Portuguese requirement for the D7 is, but I go to official sources and then translate it if you have to. Pop it in Google Translate or pop it back into chat. Okay, so Creatrix, that's what you can do. I wouldn't go with just hearing. I would do my own research. You have to. If you want to go live in the mountains, you need safety information, Creatrix. This is for any of you, not just them. You need weather information. I said that I messed up with Albania. I did not look at weather. And apparently I knew Tirana, Albania got really hot in the summer. So then I picked another town, but without researching that town, because I saw a lot of videos that made that town look very nature access. In fact, it's not. It's hard to access nature and it's a busy city. They picked the green and pretty part. So, Creatrix, I don't want you to make the same mistake, especially in a country like Costa Rica. Do your due diligence, especially if you're a budget. I would, yeah, do your research, watch YouTube videos, watch different ones, watch people who live in Costa Rica, not just people visiting. You guys, you know that's a huge difference, right? When somebody's visiting a country, oh, it's gorgeous. Look at this waterfall, right? You want to know, is there a supermarket? How can I walk on foot? Is that dangerous? Will people think I'm crazy? Do I have to be in before nightfall? Is it safe? Are there a lot of expats? Is it expensive because there are a lot of expats? So yeah, you've definitely got to do your research. But like what I just told you, start with that way. And I do think you've got a better play uh, outside of Costa Rica. But if it really draws you, I know the whole Pura Vida lifestyle, it drew me for a while because I'm a yoga teacher. I teach meditation. So Costa Rica drew me. But I think as Stephanie Perry said, it's not cheap anymore. It is not cheap anymore. She's in Colombia and loving Colombia. I believe she's in Bogota. Villa. Oh, thank you. Yes, I have heard also Villa Reale de Santo. Yes, yes. I think they shorten it, but yes, really good tip. Oh, in the Algarve. Exactly. But Solo, that's what I'm trying to say to all of you. Solo Traveler is right. Don't flock to the same place everybody's going. Why would you do that? If you flock to where other Americans, I'm putting in air quotes, many Americans may be on a $5,000 social, $6,000 social. They had a corporate job. They've got $8,000 a month. I do not have $8,000 a month to spend. I do not have 5,000. I do not have 4,000. I do not have 3,000. So don't go to the hot places where, oh, all the expats are there. You need to step it down and go to get your ear close to the ground. Where is it a little bit quieter? Oh, there's some expats, but they're not out there shouting it in the streets. Why are they not shouting it? Because they don't want all the other expats to go there and flood the place. I have heard so many expats now saying to me, I don't know that I want to tell people about this place or that place, because when Americans, middle and upper income Americans go into any country, the prices do go up. They flood, and they flood the most desirable places, and it can cause problems. I'm just saying. Okay? Which, because it upsets me. It upsets me for the locals, right? Um, because say I'm Albanian and I feel I can get an American to pay easily $500 for an apartment, not 600 maybe, right? An Albanian for that same apartment would be like, well, that should be 250. In anybody around the world, they'll be like, well, I'm going to give it to the American or the Canadian or the Aussie, right? And then that displaces people. So that really breaks my heart. I am not a local. I am not Albanian. I'm not, I'm not in Bulgaria, but I think we Americans need to really look at how we impact a place. I mean that. Obviously, you could on the other side, yes, we're spending our money, yada yada. And the point is, yeah, you didn't force that person to raise that rent, right? But they saw, oh, my friend rented it to some Americans and they got 600. Oh, I'm going to raise my rent, right? So it's very complicated, guys, and it does bother me. On that note, I want to just pause for a moment. I am not virtue signaling, which is what right-wing people try to say when someone they label as a lefty says something about a situation. That wasn't virtue signaling. That's like, I really believe that. And it's my channel, so I want to say that. I also want you guys to know, and any of you other influencers out there in this travel space, we need to start talking about global warming. Right now, you guys, I wrote it down. There were 300,000 people. Like, Nidra, do you know this? Solo traveler, do you know this? In France, between France and Italy's also has a lot of fires. Between France and Spain, sorry, 300. Imagine if in America we had to move 300,000 people. Like, that's crazy. Allegedly, right? It might be more, it might be a little bit less, but they're having to evacuate because of these fires, you guys. There are many fires burning in Europe right now. They're burning in France. I should have wrote down the city. There is a major French city. It's not Paris, but there's a major French city, you guys, where their two fires converged. The two fires became one huge fire, and there's a third that they're worried this fire is going to join, and I believe it's moving closer to this city. So I just want to say, really, if you're a prayerful person, to because global warming, like, even me, I mean, I got it, I believed it. I remember, like I said, I remember Jimmy Carter and the fuel crisis, and him being like, yeah, we need to stop guzzling fuel the way we are, like it's not sustainable. He didn't even use the word sustainable, I don't think, at that time. We in the slow travel space need to start talking about and acknowledging that right now Europe is said to be, the minute I go live, everybody wants to talk to me. Europe is the fastest warming continent, like the fastest warming region. And so, I mean, you guys, Paris was like sweltering. Like, I wouldn't, people were sleeping in parks, okay? This is unprecedented at this time of year. Because some people, oh, yeah, no, they've always had some heat. They had heat 3 years ago. No, they had heat 3 years ago. Clearly, there's pattern. The heat is starting earlier, guys, and these fires are burning like crazy. So what I'm trying to say, I'm not trying to gatekeep, like, don't come to Europe, but just be aware that there are real issues around these wildfires right now. Real issues. I just texted Karen. You guys, do you remember Karen, who was in Albania? She was in Pogradec. I think that's how they say it now, because I say it to locals and they say it that slightly differently. It's not Pogradec, it's like Pogradec, something like that. And she left to go to France. And I texted her, I'm like, "Are you okay?" She's like, "Yeah, I'm okay. I'm watching how close." What did she tell me? She's like, hold on, guys, I'm looking at my phone. She says to me, hold on. Yeah. They aren't close to her at the moment. I mean, it's a big country, guys, but if you look at a map, I'm begging, just look at a map. As an American watching this, or Canadian, look at a map of where the current wildfires, like Italy, there's like boop, 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 all down the boot. France, it's like all over, right? And apparently they did get a good amount of rain, like, so they got a lot of rain, so that all the bush and the trees, really sprang back up. But then it got really hot and dry again. So this, like, extreme, and then that basically provided fuel, right? The dried trees, the dried shrubs. And I watch videos of the firemen, and they're just like, they're overwhelmed. I am not lying to you. They are overwhelmed, trying to put out these fires. So just keep that in your mind for Europe. A lot of people are not talking about it. They're still talking about the 5 best towns. I just want to bring it up. Okay. I think it's important. I don't think it's important. I know it's important. I love that. Look at the average income. I know. Exactly, Nidra. Exactly. And thank you for being a channel member. If you want to become a channel member, you guys, and you're not yet, click join below any video, and you'll like see, and there's like 2 levels. and we meet every 2 weeks, and we do share the wisdom of the members, and it isn't just facts, it's support. Okay. Oops, kind of got my, oh, on my, did you like my earrings? One of the things I left the USA with. So yeah, look at the average income, and it is at the bottom of Numbeo. Numbeo is pretty good. There's another one also that had recommended, and that I saw Rashida in her latest video. Niger, go. I think she shows it in the latest video about slow travel. I think, but that might have been another video. There's another one, it's not Expatistan. What I love about it is it's very clearly laid out, and it shows cost of living in different places, but in a grid form. Numbeo is a little bit less like sexy. It's just like boom, 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 boom. This is how much eggs are, tea, coffee. Like it's more boring. And Numbeo, I feel, is very accurate. It gives you a start if the city has people who've put info. So like the city I'm from in upstate New York, right? I like it might have good info because 40 people said this is the price of bread, this is the price of milk, this is the price of soy milk, this is the price of a restaurant with a bottle of wine, right? But if you're looking at a more obscure town, guys, it may not have as good numbers. But check out Numbeo. Definitely check out Numbeo. Yeah, thank you, Laura. If you have any questions, because I really don't want to just yak, if you have questions, and then I am going to go because I did a live yesterday. And so again, prayers, of course, for the whole world, and there's so much craziness going on. But again, these wildfires in Europe are unprecedented, and people are fleeing their homes. And in my video, I do have a video about global warming relative to this. You can find it on my channel, and it has a picture of like a wildfire, and I talk in more detail about this and what you should think about if Europe is on your radar, which it's still like everybody's talking about it. As my mother would say, black, white, or indifferent, and I always say I'm not sure what the indifferent people are, but that was her way of saying everyone. She'd say black, white, or indifferent. Like my parents, I'm like, who are the indifferent people? I wouldn't, because that was considered rude. As a Jamaican, you don't challenge your parents. But Europe is still looked upon because, yeah, the development that they were able to, we won't go into that, to have, right, in terms of the resources. Um, so it's a well-resourced region, but there's a lot of fires, and there's definitely anti-immigrant sentiment in some countries. I don't, that's a great question. Each country is different. I have heard that Poland, I'm just, again, ear to the ground, I'm starting to hear that Poland, I'm just sharing this with you. This is anecdotal, okay? It's not in a survey yet, but maybe it will be in a year. But Poland, while it's like the lion of the EU, it's like roaring economically, that there can be some issues in Poland if you're viewed as an immigrant, depending on the country and so on. So that's what I'm just starting to hear about Poland. Again, it's safe crime-wise, but if you get someone who's in a backlash kind of mode, I've heard that some folks have had difficulties, and not even necessarily African American. I think one person was African American, another person was from a country that I think the Poles didn't like. So just um, you know, do your due diligence. It was a small little murmur. Again, I'm just sharing what I'm hearing kind of on the ground. It says, yeah, beautiful dress, but I need sleeves. Oh, okay. Hey, Judith. Listen, sleeves. Okay, but for religion, yeah. I understand that. I don't wear it out. It's so comfy and so loose. It's voluminous. There's lots of fabric. So I'm just wearing it around the house. And actually, you guys, the sun is now hitting I have a beautiful porch, but the sun is hitting it, and there is no actual shade. So I need to go close my light protecting curtains to keep the temperature down. I'll be right back. Put your questions in. So yes, Albania is hot. Check your temperatures. Do check your temperature on any of these nations, whether you're going to Ghana, whether you're going to Zanzibar, which looks beautiful, Morocco, check your temperatures. Okay. Central and South America worry me as a single woman in terms of crime rate and healthcare. I agree. I agree. Oh, you know what, guys? Because it did start to get hot, I'm gonna close my window and I am gonna I might shift my fan. So again, give me actually if I'm just gonna do fan, I don't need to close the window. Um, hold on. Here we go. Okay, let me just this is the thing that I always say I need a PhD for. Hold on, hold on. I've got to make it like hit me. Okay. Is that coming straight down? Okay. Thank you. Well, I do climate control, indoor climate control. So you can see why, um, many of the locals, I was looking at a building that's across from me, and the locals put down like heavy, like burlap, um, because I don't think everybody has air conditioning, certainly. And one thing that I do like about Europe is they have the metal. And I do that in the morning, guys, because in the morning the sun comes right, which is nice. I have a little open space on one side. And so the sun can hit in the morning. Oh, but it'll get, and then for a few hours it'll get really hot. So I pull down the metal, So they have ways that they have been dealing with some of the climate, but this is beyond, it wasn't primarily heat in a lot of places, like in Paris. It was more trying to keep the cold out, right? Historically 1800s and all of that. So I hear you, solo traveler. I know you're in China. Uh, Strangely enough, I'm gonna say I listen. I'm just speculating here, guys. Don't pack up anything on my word, but I don't think I would move to China. But I know people. I've seen a lot of folks, especially if they're teaching, that are happy with China. Again, depends on ethnicity, perhaps age, maturity, how much what you tolerate. Are you in a bigger city? Yeah, like I said, many, many things, maybe even gender. Um, but I think in many parts of China, safety is not an issue you know what I mean? Like street crime, right? Because there's a more controlled society. Also, many people enjoy Japan if you have teaching ability, guys. Again, I'm just riffing here. Um, but again, now Japan troubles me because of Fukushima, right? The whole nuclear thing. Nobody's talking about that. Of course, that's still got to be leaking. And then they're on, I believe, the Ring of Fire. Is that right, you guys? Japan is like on the Ring of Fire over in Asia. That is, again, prone to earthquakes, right? Um, I do believe, I mean, I hate to say, I really don't even want to say this, but my father was a, very biblical man, and he would start quoting. But I do think we are in, clearly turbulent times, because if you look at the globe, you and I could name a problem with almost every region. So yeah, solo traveler, absolutely. Central and South America. But again, a friend of mine, um, not like a backpacker, middle class, a female, solo, went to Colombia for a yoga training, loved it, blew her mind. She is someone also, she does speak some Spanish. She's not Hispanic, but she speaks Spanish to a degree. And she was really surprised. She came back raving about Colombia. And as I said, Stephanie Perry's also there. So I think we can't necessarily look regionally. Yeah. Thank you for that comment, Solo. Because this is what I'm trying to say. Look at even Georgia, right? We're talking about, oh, it's kind of close to Russia. There are a couple countries close to Russia. I believe Finland doesn't Finland, you guys share a border with Russia? Now, so I think we have to look more specifically. I don't know. We can do region, but I think in this geopolitical quagmire, I just wanted to say that word, melting like soup that we're in, right? That the powers that be are creating, the violence, the wars, and so on, the resource usage issues, which we could solve if we pull together and if greed wasn't the motivator, right? I think we need to look more specifically. So I wouldn't just say Central and South America worry you. I hear you, but I think start to look more specifically, like I said, like, okay, look at Colombia. El Salvador's coming up. Look at it a little bit, right? We can't make broad generalizations. For instance, real quick on Ecuador. I've never been to Ecuador, but all the whole YouTube sphere was exploding. Oh, everybody's fleeing Ecuador. Everybody's not fleeing Ecuador. As I did a little more research, and again, I wasn't looking to go to Ecuador, so I didn't do deep research, but what I heard more generally is that it's on the coast, there's a lot of increased drug activity, but that as of now, like, and has been, Cuenca is fine, right? There are towns where that's not happening. The whole expat community is there and is happy and is living their life. Guys, so it's complex, is what I'm saying. It really is friggin' complex. It is complex, but I hear you. I'm not, listen, solo also, depending on your income, I would say look at Uruguay. And I might have said this before, because I can't remember who I say every comment to. But for some of you watching this, Uruguay, because I am intuitive, Uruguay might be the answer. Very stable country, but it's extremely far from the US. Like, I forget how long the flight. I still don't understand that. I'm like, how is the world so big? Like, somebody said it's like 18 hours. I'm like, I don't think that's possible. Like 15 hours. But again, Uruguay, you guys, from my research, if you're, scared like solo traveler, you're, Central South America, Uruguay, currently very stable, moderate income, moderate income. If you were a nurse your whole life, if you were worked in maybe in government or civil servant, you could afford Uruguay. I can't afford Uruguay. Um, it's quite far from all the hotspots though, like all the, you know, it's quite off that radar. So you guys talk back to me. Share what you've heard, and replay folks share what you've heard as well. I think it's important. I think we have to have it as literally like a friggin' conversation and like a flow chart, right? Like, okay, no, wait, yes, okay, wait. For food safety, yes. Fresh food, yes. Gang crime, no. Right? Okay, APD says, I would love to move abroad, but I have to work as I'm single. Any suggestions? Well, that's a great question, APD. Consider joining my membership. Often it's if it's just a small group that's there, like the most we had that everybody showed up at one time was like 6. I think there's 9 current members, 9 or 10, right? And so, consider joining a membership, but I hear you. I think what matters, you said you're single. What kind of work do you do? Basically, the approaches are get a job. You definitely don't want a job in the low cost country, right? You're not going to go to Vietnam to get a job. Impossible, impossible. It's just not the typical way that would work well for somebody from Canada, the UK. It's just not, as I understand it. I mean, their wages are low. They're living with their family. They're living in more simple dwelling. It's not going to work. So if you can find a job that pays in Western currency, right? It's whatever arbitrage that's called, geo arbitrage. So if you can have a job that will pay you in Canadian dollars, American dollars, British pounds, uh, Aussie, I don't know what it is for Australians, right? I think it's dollars, but Australian dollars. Then you could live in a lower cost of living country. So that is possible depending on what you do. Like if you're in tech, well, and that's changing with AI. Guys, it's crazy. We could literally do this week to week. It's probably going to change. But what I'm recommending, and you guys put in comments your thoughts, there are websites absolutely for looking for jobs where you can work remotely, remote jobs. Libria Jones specifically, I know is wonderful and talks about and gives great advice, and then she has like some programs, and she has like some self-study, like a program that does really tell you these are the websites, this is how you do it. Also, if you're in government, some of you don't realize this. If you actually work with the US government, for instance, I was looking at this, you guys, um, for Italy, there are US bases in Italy. There are US bases, military bases. I don't know how you feel about this, but I'm just saying to you, there are US military bases in a lot of countries. I literally saw for like to teach exercise, like they wanted exercise and movement instructors. And I was like, hmm. Move to Italy, and I should still look at that actually. Move to Italy and teach on the base. Have any of you done that? That's a thing. That's a possible route. But yeah, you have to work as you're single. I mean, even if you're married, you may still have to work. But I think APD, if you just came in, I would use the free chat GPT, put in your parameters, put in more specific detail, and see what it spits out and start your research. That's really the best way. I really want us to cut down on AI use, but I think what I heard is the AI use is really by the corporations. That's massive with these data centers. Okay, these data centers are basically torturing people with noise. Any of you, let me know. Give me a hearts if you've seen this. If they put a data center, it's like 24-hour torture. The noise that some of these, or many of them, put out, the water usage. So I keep saying check ChatGPT, but I know we're on a budget, but it is a downward spiral. But check ChatGPT, put in your parameters, APD. I'm a single male, I'm a single female who's looking for this and this and this. I speak Spanish, or I speak a little French. Give it the details and then see what it says, right? Also, I don't know you. Do you like the seaside? I don't know your income. All of that is going to come into play. That's why I would start with ChatGPT, because the AI, I mean, it's not brilliant. A friend corrected me. He goes, it's not brilliant. It's a large language model. He's a tech guy. He's a geek. I'm like, he's like, it's not actually intelligence. I go, I know it's predicting. He's like, it literally is just predictive. And I'm like, yes, but when it spits it out, and it's like, we've discussed this over the last 7 months, Viv. And what I know of you is that you like, and I'm like, yes, that is what I like. Depends on if that one line of work. Yeah, yeah, definitely. But APD, what I just shared with you, those are definitely some starts. I know I just shared like four things because I'm like, my brain is like, wow, pulling it out and like, so yeah, you want to start first by, yeah, get a little bit, put in your information somewhere, or even just write it down. If you don't even want to use AI, write your info down, have it in your mind, and then start researching. So I would then hop on YouTube, a single woman who lives in Ecuador. What's the cost of living in Ecuador? What's the cost of living in Colombia? But again, that is harder than starting with AI. Get the AI to narrow it down for you, right? And then do your research, because it's taken maybe 30 countries that sound sexy. Ooh, Portugal. Oh, I could move to France, right? I could move to Costa Rica, and it's like narrowed it down, and then you do your due diligence. So good luck. Good luck. Yeah, it's totally heating up. This is not, listen, you notice you don't hear the anti people as much, right, Nidra? They've gotten kind of quiet. This is what angers me so much. Just it breaks my heart, and I don't even want to say that. Heart healthy, but it is a shame. And you all know this. Like Exxon knew in the 80s at least they had models of what this would do to the climate. So there, think about it. That means there were men and women who knew that this would be happening and said nothing for their own profit. I mean, I understand they probably would have lost their careers. I get that. But they didn't even secretly whistleblower. They knew, you guys, these corporations, their scientists ran models of, with AI, with machinery you and I didn't have. This is what's going to happen if we continue with these fuels. And they kept quiet, putting their own children, their grandchildren into this. So I just don't even know what to say. The wildlife scorching tracks of southwestern France is inching Bordeaux. Thank you, Solar Traveler. It is Bordeaux. Thank you. See, I have a very intelligent, up to date. Exactly. It's Bordeaux, which is so funny, right? It's a beautiful region. I had it in my head because I am intuitive. Bordeaux has just been on my mind. And then, yeah, it's closing in. And I think Cap de Ferret, an area that I know the wealthy used to go to, especially in the 60s. I think it's Cap de Ferret, guys. Who knows that? Like literally one part was cut off, like you were literally vacationing, which I'm like, did you not do any research? And maybe this is your vacation home, whatever. And it was literally cut off. They're sending boats to get people, which they had to do in Greece a couple of years ago. I think we need to look at it. We need to look at, we're all really gonna have to, I'm looking forward to fall. Yes, I know you are. I know you are, Nidra. Girl, it's coming up because I'm looking forward to fall. I will tell you guys, in the fall, I will very likely, this is the first I'm announcing it. In the fall, I will very likely be shifting. I will take you along. Like I said, I don't know that I'm going to take you on in real time, guys, because that's hard. It's hard to be like, I'm not 21, like, oh, I'm filming myself in the airport. I'm in such and such airport with my luggage. I think I may give I what many vloggers do is they give themselves a little leeway. They arrive in the country. A lot of the channels I do watch, often they're out of the country by the time they're reporting on it, which I think in some countries that's a great idea. They've left the country because you need time to edit that video, get all the footage, sift through the footage, cut out the bad parts, cut out the wind noise. It's a lot, you guys. So on that note, I do want to say thank you for your support of the channel. If before we go any further, could you please give the video a thumbs up? Also, you can hype a video, you guys, and I would love it. You literally have to do the hype on your cell phone. Nidra, if it's possible for you, it's something you'll see it about hyping. It really helps smaller channels. It's this new thing YouTube came up with. It's better than a like. You hype it, and I think you get for free, you can like hype a certain amount of channels. So any of you watching, if you would hype the video, and I think it's only in the first 4, I'm not sure. It's in the first days of the video. Yeah, we've ignored it. It's scary that we've ignored for so long about the warming, right? We've been the people who wanted to believe it, I know, especially in the right-wing media, they vilified these people. They vilified scientists. There was like one scandal where a scientist was like exaggerated. You guys, they ignored all the studies, right? They find there was one study. There's one study because I remember, and they're like, "Oh, he lied. He said it was 15% and it really wasn't. It was like 12." So you see, you can't trust these climate scientists, and these scientists anyway, you can't trust them. Where are these, millionaires now, right? They've bought property where they have seen the forecast of less wildfires, no doubt, right? I mean, if I were wealthy, obviously, I would go, you want to go to the safest place, but to know that I really do believe not karma. I don't know if I want to say it's karma, you guys, but I do believe not retribution, but I do think if you were among that group and it was the elites who knew and saw this coming and probably already planning on Elon's spaceship, how to exit if they haven't, or has bought their bunker, I do believe things come back to roost. Yeah, things, they come back around. They come back around. Yeah, Trump called climate change a scam. I don't think he's talking about it much now, though, interestingly. He also calls sustainable energy policy the greatest hoax in history, of course, because whose pocket is he in? It's all about the money, as you know. I mean, we know this, right? So you can buy somebody off. You pay them, and you pay them a lot, and they'll just spout, and then it goes from there. But yeah, it's horrifying because what I would think of if I had been in one of those positions is, oh my gosh, I have children and my family, like, which is probably when they started the bunkers, y'all. They started the bunkers probably in the 80s when they were like, oh yeah, we're really screwed. Okay, wow, well, my Exxon stock has made me rich and all that. But yeah, let's start building a bunker, honey. Let's look at some land in New Zealand or whatever. So it it's hard. I will keep bringing it up just because, again, for those of us who are looking for peace, tranquility, friends and community, health, you just want to live your life like the vast majority of the world's people. I think we have to discuss it. We're going to have to talk about climate change. Yep, yep, Laura, it is. I'm pretty sure it's Bordeaux, France. Yes. How many Americans do you think if we just swooped down in Missouri or in Texas would have any idea about any of this? Because I'm going to say it, I'm saying we as Americans, we are also trained to be like this. Like, what, what, the rest of the world? You like, we don't look, we're like, no, right? So most Americans do not. I do try to watch the BBC, especially if it's something breaking. I look at, and also Al Jazeera, interestingly enough. Al Jazeera and BBC for news. You guys, let me know what you think about news sources. Yeah. Oh, I said it. Yeah, Spain is on fire near Madrid. Yes, yes. That's why I just did that like moment of just saying, please keep these people and countries in your prayers, right? As well as the countries, which, I know some people would say, Viv, you have no idea what's going on in these poorer countries, like a country like Bangladesh. Again, I haven't done a lot of research because I'm not planning to move to Bangladesh, but you guys, some of these poorer countries are already deeply experiencing climate like disaster is all I'm going to say. So if you're interested, do your research. But yeah, Spain, and it's this near Madrid. Can you imagine, you guys? Can you imagine like, a fire like hitting some of these densely populated places? It's crazy. We're in crazy times. I read in Japan they hang woven mats on the outside of windows. Yeah, what I liked about of Japanese culture, especially historical, actually not so much modern Japanese culture, but I'm very impressed by more historical Japanese culture, is it very much was about sort of actually what most cultures before we got all right, what naturally, so yeah, woven mats, exactly. I loved, for instance, what I'm thinking, just to explain it further, is like the whole tatami mats, the traditional Japanese way that was literally you'd roll the futon that we think, the futon, it would be a thin futon that we would say that's uncomfortable. They would roll it up and put it in a closet, and so that same room that you slept in, they would then have it more open. So I admire that type of minimalism and living close to the earth. I definitely do admire that. Like I said, if it weren't for the cost, Japan right now is not exorbitant. I think with the American dollar, you see that? Nobody wants to talk to me all day. And then the moment I go live, Tori, okay. Yeah, okay, someone just gave me a heart. I hope to bring on someone named Tori Prophet Mother, and we're going to talk about mental health, probably in moving abroad. Hey, I'm live now on my channel. I'm probably gonna wrap up in like 10 minutes, but I just thought I'd let you know. I just mentioned you. So like I said, I'm hearing I'm in so many like groups and individually, not even groups, individually hearing from women who are traveling abroad, who are over 50. So I feel like I am a good resource and can be a help and share here as well what you know. Yep, the woven mats. Good morning. Yes, good morning, honey. Simonian. Hello. Yeah, I definitely admire. I was just oh, it broke. I'm gonna stop saying that. Japanese man who what we call Asian pears. It looked like an apple, but it's a goldeny color. You guys, apparently those pears retail for like $10 a pair or more, like more, one pair, but they're perfectly even and beautiful, and they give them as gifts. Somebody raided his pear farm and like harvested the pears, and I'm like, I don't understand. Would have 5,000 of his pears. This is a Japanese farmer, 5,000 of his pears, the expensive ones. They only took the expensive ones. So I'm like, this is clearly a gang. This is some sort of and people write stupid things. Well, who's gonna eat that? It's and the guy's like, obviously, and he's like, the pears weren't ripe, which is what made it sad. He goes, they literally are not going to be able to sell it for much because it was about 3 weeks out from harvest. They came in and just scraped all his pears, disappeared. And I'm like, I don't even understand. And he was literally in tears, this Japanese man, and saying he didn't do enough. And he felt so much guilt and shame because this farm had been in his family for generations, and that he was the one, he's like, I can't do it anymore because he was robbed the year before. And then he was robbed just now, and he's like, I can't do all of this labor, and then it just stolen out from under him, you guys. So anyway, thank you. So, see, solo traveler, I can tell you're up on it. Yeah, xenophobia, which is just call it the fear of the other. And again, I'm not just talking to the black folks watching me, like myself, right? I'm not, because people who aren't African American will be like, oh, she's just talking about black people. No. Okay, that's why I'm being specific. Poland, there's some issues there in Poland with outsiders. And like I said, I don't know if it's Romanians or if it's um the Ukrainians coming in, as well as, maybe if you're a person of color. I think again, then it depends. Are you perceived as American? Are you perceived as African? But it's a bigger thing. Yes, there is xenophobia. So while Poland is economically thriving and a safe country, there is this swing of 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 hatred. Again, probably not the vast majority of Poles, but there's something happening and probably being fanned, and I really believe this. It's being fanned by groups who want this to kind of sweep across Europe. And I've seen channels. Yes, there are problems with immigration. I'm not saying there aren't problems with immigration. I think the countries do need to figure it out. But what these other groups, more the right-wing groups, and even further, they just use it to like fan, like they use it to like get everybody real, instead of like, okay, what's a solution? What can we do? Let's have public discourse. We need workers, for instance. What can we do? How can we integrate people? What can we do? And I know there is also, I think, quite a bit of anti-Muslim sentiment. I'm just saying, I think that in Europe, that's a big part of it, also with the immigration, you guys. So again, most Americans going in, we're not trying to keep track of all that, but I guess what I am saying, first of all, being African American is another layer of like research that one has to do. Um, and that is a lot of work. It could make you weary. And I know my viewers who are not African American are able to understand that that's like this other level, into, okay, am I Muslim? Am I going to be welcome? If you're gay or bi or trans. I mean, it's like, there's the general, oh, this is a great country. And then you have to like dive deep. And it's hard. It is harder because if you're in any sort of, I'm just going to say subgroup, or you're going to be perceived, oh, you're Muslim, we don't want, it's really hard, guys. I can't even, I just can't. I just can't. But thank you for sharing that. You have seen that as well come up, solo traveler, because I don't want people to think I'm just out here spewing things, because I am a very I'm like very, very like, let's all be just peace and love, and hold hands, like Caribbean life. Um, and that is why my community, I want to reiterate again, it is a diverse community. I would like women in there of all backgrounds, all ethnicities. I do want to also state, though, I do want people who are able to at least speak kindly. Um, that's important, and to, if the world is going to survive, I think we will have to learn to work together. And so that's why my community, it is women only, but it is open to all women. I mean, if you're 20, no. Women over 50, right? Just mature women. I think we bring a bit of wisdom, life experience, and we can form a nice and supportive group. We can have discourse. We're sophisticated enough to be supportive of each other. And so, yeah, I just want to put that out about my group. Melsky, hey Melsky. I am a woman of color, Indo-Caribbean, and have never felt safer than I do in China. See, thank you for that. Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, so when you say Indo-Caribbean, do you appear, I mean, it's a delicate quote. Do you appear more Indian, or do you think, how do they perceive you? I'm just curious, but thank you for sharing that. So solo traveler, I've never felt safer than I do in China, in the fourth largest city. Okay. So yeah, so not Beijing. Is it Zandao? I know I can't pronounce it right, but it starts with an X. I have heard that. That's what I'm saying. I keep my ear to the ground. I have heard, especially if you're a teacher, some people are absolutely really happy in China. Others feel that if they don't look Chinese, so, and especially African American, they get a lot of looks. They get people want to take photos with them a lot, but to the point where people might come up to you, they don't ask or say anything, they just take a photo with you or photograph you, which can be uncomfortable. I totally get that, but you've never felt safer. Yes, and that's what I was saying early in the broadcast, is that there's so many types of safety, right? Maybe I should make a separate video just talking about that, right? So safety from crime, absolutely. In the Middle East, you're pretty safe from crime, right? Oman, yeah. I've seen several videos of women, and also several specifically of Black women in Oman, I believe, and UAE. Love it, love it, love it. They're happy. They're like, I've never felt safer. Um, Now I have issues like in Dubai, I have issues with how they treat their workers and yada yada. But you're not going to be probably mugged. Nobody's going to come mug you. Nobody's going to, you pickpocket you, right? So what type of safety do you want? And there are different types of safety, right? Because of your gender, are you, in some countries, walking in the marketplace, you're going to really be harassed. Men might become angry at you. You're not stopping to look at the rug or look at the thing. Guys, you see, I'm throwing out all the problems. Chicago to Mexico. Okay, Judith. Okay, Judith, you need to break this down more. I feel like words are left out. Chicago to Mexico from Judith, over 64 years. And you're 84. I paid to have my apartment emptied. Okay. Listen, pay if you can. Pay if you can. What did I do? I have another connection here. Again, I'm not going to ever tell names or identifying info, but I'm just thinking of her. She was able to, she cleared out her storage unit, costing her an arm and a leg. She finally is like, Viv, I'm like, clear that unit out, girl. Two of her younger family members, one had graduated college. I think one had also just gotten a job. They were going to start new apartments. She said they just came in. They clean that furniture out, living room sets, the whole 9 yards. They took it, and I was like, "Oh my god, that's so beautiful." So she wasn't trying on Facebook Marketplace. She concurred with me that, yeah, Facebook Marketplace, like, don't do it. Just don't waste your time. Unless you're desperate for money and you have a high expensive item that everybody wants. Again, I keep mentioning the Vitamix blender. That's what I got traction on. I tried to sell my books, you guys. I sold my books in a bundle, spirituality books, yoga books. I bundled them, and it was still hellish. Hellish. Hell, hell, hell. Solo Traveler says, "Hi, Melski." All right, so Judith, were you the woman who was coming to Albania? But again, you just gave like Chicago to Mexico over 64 years. So it's hard for me to necessarily follow. Dangerous to sell your stuff. Judith Grace, yeah. Break it down. What do you mean to me? What do you mean? In terms of like random people coming into your house? Yes, for sure. That can be one problem. I did not. I was pretty, one of my things was, I'll meet you at the DMV, um, you know, or such and such place, or oh, the supermarket, the Stop and Shop, for a bigger item or whatever. Um, but I guess it can be. Do you want to share more of what you mean? Great. I got new comments coming in. Okay, so Melsky says Uruguay was where I was planning on going before you found Albania. Melsky, they're so friggin' far apart. I think like the trip from Melsky, I know we may have talked about this before. Why did you rule out Uruguay, Melsky? Because I have not been to Uruguay, but I have been to Albania. And I think you get a different bang for your buck, Melsky. So I'm really curious. Give me a little more of why did you say, and you had shared with me, but this will also help new viewers. Oh my gosh, now it's up to 20 now that YouTube has told people, right? The longer you stay on, the more it grows, but of course you get tired. So I apologize, new folks. I've been live for an hour, 35 minutes. I'm going to go off fairly soon. Please start from the beginning. I answered a lot of questions. Yeah, why did you drop Uruguay? Was it cost, Melsky? I know you told me. I don't remember, but your response will also, again, it'll help others. Solo Traveler says, I think monthly income requirements become a resident fee. Yeah, around 1500, exactly. But Solo Traveler, 1500 is doable for many people. If I hadn't had some of the issues I had with work, I had some low income jobs in the beginning of my career. I really did. I had some mental health issues. My higher paying jobs were started quite late in life for me. Okay. And so, yeah, I don't hit the 1500, but it is, and I know you're not saying it is or it isn't, but but thank you for sharing that. It's 1500 sounds about right. And that's why I say I have moderate income people in my audience as well, of course. 1500 is doable. If I had had my career starting even 10 years earlier, I think, um, I could hit that mark. So Uruguay has a lot to recommend it. That's why I'm just saying to Melsky and others who may watch this, I would not compare Uruguay to Albania, is all I'm going to say. All right, ask me more if you want to know what I'm trying to say, or and Melsky, ask me more. Um, Albania, I'm sure, is definitely cheaper. Yes, she did tell me. I don't remember though. I think it was just because Albania currently, and I'm not trying to insult Albanians, because that's why I never say cheap. Or I try not to say cheap. I try to remember on because for the Albanians, depending, their salaries are lower. A young woman was complaining to me, you guys, because people open up to me. Actually, they really open up to me, and she was complaining about how low the wages are. I think she told me the average monthly wage in the town I'm in was somewhere between 500 and 600. And she's like, that's ridiculous. But she had lived abroad, right? So she's coming to that based on her maybe time in Germany, right? A higher income, but higher cost country, you guys, right? So it's complicated. It's very complicated. Um, but I would not compare the lifestyle you're going to get in Uruguay. It's not an exact match, I would think, to Albania, is what I'm saying. But yeah, maybe Melsky will remind me again, and we can see it can help some other folks. APD says I was a medical assistant. I was also in management. Yeah, APD. It took you a while to put that because that was a way back. You maybe could find a job working remotely, my love, especially with the medical. I've heard Stephanie Perry talk about that on a couple different, she's got hundreds and hundreds of videos. But do your research as I recommended, right? I told you how I would start it. With your background, you could potentially get a job abroad that will allow you to live abroad, I should say. And again, if you do speak a foreign language. But yeah, I didn't have that like medical assistant. Guys, I was an art professor. Countries aren't knocking down, we need somebody to teach painting. Can you teach us how to paint? We want to know how to draw, you know? So yeah, tech is very volatile right now. You make great money, but prepare for layoffs. I know. I worked for the IS government overseas. Would the IS The IS government? Wait, wait, where were you? You said you were, it was the Middle East, but you worked. Okay, I'm not sure. The IS is confusing me. I'll leave it up on the screen as, great info for the audience. Yeah, but yeah, tech is very volatile. So, I said tech maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago, but now tech is with the AI. Um, a friend told me he went for an interview. He was actually quite depressed about this. And they were like, well, what AI do you use? Like, talk to us about AI tools. And he's like, ugh, ugh, right? And okay, US government. Got it, got it, got it. I know I hate friggin' autocorrect or whatever. Yes, yes. You work for, yeah, overseas. Tech is very volatile. Prepare for layoffs. Oh, totally. The layoffs are happening. My friend works for the US Department of Defense in schools and has been in Korea and is now in Brussels. Yeah, solo travel. That's what I'm saying. I really want to interview you, but I know you don't want to be on camera. So your friend works for the US State Department of Defense schools. So some of you watching this, maybe just the young ones, because I'm thinking if you weren't already working for the government, the American government has a really far reach overseas, obviously, but they have bases. And so they hire, and I forget the name of the site, you guys. US something, there are jobs. You do not, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. You do not have to be in the military. They hire civilians. Maybe Nigel can share more about this. They hire civilians to, like I said, it was like exercise instructor or maybe to be a cook, whatever. There were jobs for civilians to work on the US military bases in Europe. So guys, don't sleep on that. That's sort of a, see what I mean? It's kind of like, wait, what? That's not how most expats move abroad. No, no. But you'd have a job, a US government job, doing random things. Teachers, especially, was a thing on the bases, whether in Korea, the Philippines. That's a thing. That's a little niche. I've never interviewed anybody who for my channel, but I know it's a thing. And like I said, I looked into it and I thought I could finagle my yoga teaching into movement instructor, and it was in Italy, but I just didn't bother. Partly for me, I wasn't sure how I felt about being on a military base. But again, you're very well, what am I trying to say? Not necessarily integrated, but these towns, whether it's Italy or France, they're very used to that base being there. The base itself is often very, provides a lot that you need. So again, it's for a certain type of person, but I just want to mention it because I am intuitive and maybe literally one person that'll work for. Yeah, different, yeah. Yeah, in the fall I will be shifting, very likely to a it perhaps a different city, perhaps a different country. Not 100% decided yet. You guys know I did a scouting trip to another town in Albania, and I do have a friend there. We're in touch. I had two friends there, and that almost made me move. I'm like, I had a guy friend there and then a female friend there. And I was like, you know what? Pogradec it's a beautiful town. Watch my video on Pogradec, Albania. I do think it's one of the, if you want a town with nature, calm and peaceful, Pogradec, don't sleep on it. So I had two friends there, and I was like, you know what? You should move there. Certainly for the nature, but you already know two people. And for me, as an introvert, two people is enough. Let's go have coffee. And then I've got my friends back home and around the world. We can talk on the phone. So I'm thinking about it, but there are other countries also that I might explore. Yeah, 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 yeah. The Voice? What? What did I miss? Permission to leave, you said, haha, The Voice? I miss that because you might be a little bit behind the live, which also happens, guys, when you sometimes a live is going on and yeah, you join it live and like you saw something that was like 5 minutes ago. Thank you. TNK says the wealthy aren't worried since they have multiple homes. Yeah, the very wealthy. True, true. Listen, don't we all wish we had two homes? But actually, I don't really want to own two homes. I want to own one home that I can live in. But yes, that's true. That level of wealth and the level of wealth where you have maybe 3 homes, you really have multiple properties that you can kinda Hey, who else watches the, I'm blocking his name. Nomad Capitalist. I kinda love to make fun of him. It would be so funny if my channel and his did a crossover. Could you see that? 62-year-old Black woman who talks about solo travel for budget, and he's the nomad capitalist. I know some of you watch him because I've had in different lives and different communities, people are like, yeah, that nomad capitalist guy. It is because of him. So I want to give him a kudos. It literally is because of him. Even I completely disagree with maybe 70% of his sort of political and his worldview, right? Nomad, capitalist. Um, but it's because of him that I did get that the seed of 2 passports. So again, to him, I know he has helped people. We're not gonna go to him and pay, I forget how much you have to pay for his services. 50, it's a really high amount, high net worth, like, but he is helped via YouTube. He's helped people that I don't even know if he knows he's helped. So yeah, who else has 2 passports because of him? He sort of had a lot of videos about, you want mobility. And I'm like, he's talking about rich people. And I'm like, yeah, but, and this was maybe 5 years ago, you guys. And it is because of him that what I have and what I recommend for many of you watching also, I just thought of it. This is a very, you've probably done it, but again, I needed to hear it. I didn't know. I didn't think of it. Many of you may have Caribbean roots, or a lot of you also watching do have European roots. Get your heritage passport, or if you're an immigrant, you have your immigrant passport, right, to your country is what I'm saying. You may be from Colombia, you may be from Peru, you may be from Mexico. Have that, and then if you can get one other passport. And, there is a ranking, it's called the Henley ranking. I am such a geek. Why do I even know this? Okay. There are other rankings, but it's the very popular one is the Henley, and it ranks the strength of passports. I believe the American passport is it's not number 1. The American passport is, I think, guys, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm because I'm not sure. I want to say the American passport is 4th, 5th, or 6th in a tie. Who knows the answer to this? This is a quiz. The American passport, the US passport in 2026 on the Henley index specifically though, I believe it was 5th or 6th, but in a tie. I want to say it's a country like Singapore or like I gotta Google that, guys. I am such a geek. What is the top ranking here? Top ranking nation passport passport. Now, some say the Henley is flawed and it's top ranking nation in the passport rankings. I think it's Henley. Let me see if I'm right. Yes, the Henley passport. Guys, it is Singapore. Singapore holds, according to AI, holds the #1 rank in the Henley Passport Index, providing visa-free or visa on arrival access to 192 destinations. So the US Americans, as Picky Girl says, to be precise, US Americans, I want to say we have 160 something, while Singapore, that's what their ranking the strength of the passport is. Singapore, you can literally visa free or visa on arrival, like they let you in 192 destinations. Japan and South Korea tie for 2nd place. Okay. Switzerland, Denmark, Luxembourg, Spain, and Sweden share 3rd place. I'm going to stop at 3rd place. So now you know the Henley Passport Index. I believe the US, let me look it up. Ranking. I'm such a geek. I know I've lost some of you because I've gone down a geek rabbit hole. Ranking of the US passport. Henley. Hold on. Okay, I'm saying 6th in a tie. Let's see if I'm right. No, I'm wrong. I'm wrong. Guys, put in the chat. Where do you think? Don't look it up because I found the answer. Where do we rank right now, currently on the Henley Passport Index? It's lower than I thought. I'm gonna let you guys guess. I really want to see what you guys guess. I'm not gonna tell you. I'm gonna scroll all the way to the bottom. Did you, Nidra? Nigel, did you cheat? I'm not trying to be a bitch, but I'm like, you nailed it. Nigel got it. Let me put it up. Put up her comment. Nigel said 10th place. It's 10th place. I'm telling you, we were sixth. I would not lie to you. We were sixth. America has fallen, but yeah, the ranking according to AI, it's saying we are now 10th. But I believe that's a tie also. It's not a clean 10th. It's when we were sixth, it was a tie. So maybe now it is. Hold on. Okay, okay. We get visa-free access, Americans, US Americans, 179 to 180. I don't know what that question is. I think it's whether they consider some country a country. Historically, down from sharing the top spot in 2006 and 2014, but with over 30 other countries now ranking ahead or tied due to broader relative gains by other nations. And we won't say we've clearly lost rank. We clearly have lost rank. Yep. Forbes 5 days ago. Okay, this is going to be a separate video. I'm going to talk about the US passport. You guys just gave me what my next video is going to be about. Thank you. Because like sometimes I can't come up with ideas. Forbes magazine, if you want to go read it, 5 days ago it says US passport power declines. So I think I'm going to make a video on that. That'll just be a separate video. There we go. US Americans. No. US is not fourth, Deborah. Nope. You're quick. Did you? No, but did I wonder, or did you just guess? Because like I said, the last I looked, Nidra, which was probably maybe it was 2025, we were number 6. So I'm just wondering, that's a huge drop from 6 to 10. So yeah, Deborah's like fourth. Nope. Okay, you didn't win the Vitamix blender that Viv has back home in America. All right, I'm gonna go through real quick, guys. I'm having fun, but I don't want to lose my voice. And I have leftover pizza. My friend here, hopefully she won't watch this. She goes, "Oh, this is the best pizza place in town." I'm a New Yorker. Italians coming over, Ellis Island, pizza and New York, really like pizza places, okay? Pizza parlors, pizza. She says, "This is the best." Literally, I'm complaining to her. I'm like, "Yeah, I had pizza at this place." We're walking out of her place. I go, "I had pizza at this place and it was all right." And I'm like, "So where's your pizza parlor you're showing?" She goes, "Oh, it's right over there." And I think she's pointing across the street because the way the streets are in Albania, it's weird. Guys, we get like around the V. She goes, "This is it." I go, "Oh, wait, this is the pizza part." She goes, "Oh, this is the place that has the great pizza." And I'm like, "Oh, this is the place I thought the pizza was okay." So I finally listened because I could tell she was annoyed with me. I said, "Look, I am after eating it and reevaluating. I had a different flavor. I was like, I'm from New York City, and pizza really is a thing in New York City. We have Italian Americans that pizza parlors and and so she's like, oh, she's from a place where there are less Italians that would have come through. Anyway, so I think she forgave me, but I was like, it's all right. But still, I bought it. And also, so far in Albania, I don't see slices, right? Which in New York City is famous for. You just get a slice of pizza. So I had to buy like a small pie. So I have leftover and I am not letting it go to waste. I am not letting it go to waste. Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh my gosh, some of your comments are wonderful. I'm going to put them up real quick. Exactly. At the moment in Poland, the xenophobia is towards the Ukrainians, but in previous years it was towards people of color. I know this because I interviewed for a job there a few years ago. So I am not speculating. Um, it's like I said, ear to the ground, sandals on the ground. I talked to a lot of women just to get perspective. I watch a lot of videos and I try to watch people who will give an honest, not just, "Oh my God, I discovered this chocolate shop in Krakow, Poland that you have to travel for." I want to get a little bit of the real stuff. So yeah, the xenophobia is towards the Ukrainians, right? Because they feel they're coming in, right? And that I'm sure that's being stoked towards people of color. Yeah. Poland, again, you've heard me say it over and over. I know you're gonna get bored. I trust my gut, and I'm not saying I'm always right, but Poland never got me like my spirit was never like, yeah. And I have a dear friend from college who's Polish, who is a sweetheart. She's Polish American, you know, but Poland as a nation, when I tune in, it doesn't appeal to my spirit, and I trust that more than anything. Hey, matching birthdays for happiness. You guys are giving great comments, so I'm just gonna go through them. Wow, Solo. No kidding. My friends in Germany. Germany, I'm gonna say specifically for the African American community, seems to be fine. Germany is this powerhouse of a nation. I'm not saying that I just know different people. I know like gay men who've gone to Germany, loved it, lived there, gotten relationship. I know all different types of people who were pretty cool, can adapt to Germany, especially the cities, right? I'm not talking in Germany, I'm not talking about going out to a small town. But and again, and so many Americans, black, white, indifferent, as my mom would say, Germany they can adapt to. Of course, there is a rise of the right wing, but generally Germany is about get your work done, just get your shit done, good paying jobs, good strong economy. I'm just saying. Germany doesn't appeal to me either though. It doesn't, but I no, I have not heard a strong sense of negative about Germany from anyone. The whole world is shifting on it. Yes, yes, TNK. It's crazy. That's why I'm saying to people too, honestly, ladies, if you really have it in your heart that you think you want to be in a foreign country, you like the culture, you're open to kind of integrating, learning a language. Stephanie Perry made a wonderful video. Check that out on her channel about the language drama. Do you have to learn the language? And it's not that hard, or, she just talked about that. Like I said, Albanian is not a language I think that many of you are gonna just learn like this. You'll learn a few words, but to have a conversation is gonna be lessons and study. And again, no shade to Albanians, but it's not a language like, say, Portuguese, where, okay, you're in Brazil and you're in Portugal, or French, you're in Africa, you're on an island somewhere, you're in France, you're in Canada, and French is like you can use your French, right? Albanian, actually, and I know there are Albanians in other countries in the region that you can use the language with. So I'm not saying it's solely limited to Albania, but the usability is tough, right? Versus, yeah, if you go to Iceland and you're gonna learn Icelandic, or you're gonna learn, I don't know, Swedish, same thing. You can talk to some Swedish people, right? I want to learn more about your time in China. Yeah, Nidra, I do want to get Solo Traveler on the channel. Can we try to get Solo Traveler to be willing to show their face? They're not really comfortable with that. And so I can tell that Solo has a wealth of experience. Solo, would you be open to coming to do like maybe a short presentation in my private community? Solo Traveler, I'm going to put this again. I'm going to put assistant at in the flow, but I would really like you to be on the channel public assistant in the flow of magic, because that's my other site, assistant at in the flow of magic. So that I'm putting that there specifically for Solo Traveler or any, but if you really are absolutely sure you wouldn't be on my channel publicly because you're not comfortable, maybe we could do an audio. I could do an audio podcast solo. Let me think about that. Why not? I could, Nigel, what do you think? I mean, I think it'd be worth getting the info to have I like to have an image and I like to see the person, of course, that they do better. But maybe we could just have a audio podcast that I could host here, you guys, with Solo, because Solo has a lot of experience. I can tell. Yes, the time in China, and yes, Indian, Korean. Hmm. Okay, okay. Well, see, yeah, thank you for that explanation. I took the Indian and Caribbean as like, I took the Caribbean as like Afro automatically because I'm Caribbean. So I'm like, okay, I'm from Jamaica, I'm Caribbean. So, okay, and she's Indian. So I was like, okay, blend. but you are Indian, yeah. And I know, is it what Caribbean island? Is it Trinidad? Listen, Indians were all over China. And I don't know the history as much as I should, but in Jamaica, truly a multicultural nation where I'm from. I mean, I just remember Chinese. I left when I was young. Southeast Asian, Indian, right? And Chinese and Africans, and then like the majority, right? But a very diverse country Jamaica is or was, as I remember. But yeah, came over, either brought over or came over for trade and industry and start business, start a new life. It's a rich region. So yeah, Solo, it would be nice to talk to you. But yeah, I think it's Trinidad. It's a nice mix of people going on there in the Trini section. What is sure thing? She said, sure thing, Miss Nidra. I want to learn more. Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to come to our group, I would, given lead time, I would really publicize it so that the women in the group know you're coming. So yeah, reach out to me at my email if you're interested, or if you're interested in the podcast, but no, just audio podcast, which is fine. You could totally do that. That could be really nice, actually. Okay. Hey, honey, thank you for being here. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you. I got to run too. I'm at 2 hours now of talking. And Alessis says she's not a morning person. Alessis, it's 6 o'clock here. The sun is starting to, like, you can tell it's not the peak of the day anymore. So I'm telling you guys, the 6 hours, if you do move abroad, it can really affect your relationships back home because that time difference. Several of my friends, there's one dear friend, she probably won't be watching this. She is Portuguese, and but she's in the US for some months, and I've lost touch with her, and it just breaks my heart. And she said, yeah, she says, every time I think of you, it's too late, right? Because she thinks of me in the evening in the US, which I'm fast asleep, right? So when I sold on Facebook Marketplace, it was successful. I would meet at the police station. Exactly, Nidra. Thank you. That's why I say there's wisdom in our community. And also, like when we meet and the members, we bring a lot of wisdom. I met at a public place, or out in my yard. I was like, look, if you're gonna, as Stephanie Perry said, at a certain point, you have to start trusting your vibes. She meant it about moving abroad, but I did meet some people in the yard of my home. But I lived in a busy enough area. The homeless man might would notice something had happened, right? We had some crazy people that I just loved. I love, wandering crazy people, not totally crazy, not violent, but we had our people, they wander around. Um, Pretty safe neighborhood. We started to get some Amazon packages stolen, which shocked people. And this is in America. Yeah, I mean, we were not getting Amazon packages stolen, but we started to. We started to. So, and you also Poshmark, okay. Poshmark and the Real Real. Guys, Poshmark and the Real Real. Okay. There you go. I think it all depends on the person, energy. I can't move to Uruguay until I retire. Okay. Okay. Yeah, because Melski, and I know you would explain to me in another video, but like I said, also folks will watch this video and they'll just see that like, oh, Uruguay versus Albania. She chose Albania. Oh, um, I'm sure the infrastructure is stronger in Uruguay, but so are the costs. So are the costs. So yeah, Melski, I do want to also interview you if you're close enough to 50. I can't quite tell from your picture, right? You might be too young, Melski. If you're too young, I don't want to talk to you. Can't have any kids coming in here, or if you buy real estate. Oh, okay. But when you retire, you think you could do Uruguay. Okay, yeah, I'm confused as to what. So you'd qualify for the retirement visa. Okay, last tip. So guys, many countries, the retirement visa can be a little lower than, it's always lower than the digital nomad. The digital nomad visas, for some reason, everybody priced them really high. So I technically could be a digital nomad, but the income isn't high enough to meet the high standard. Retirement sometimes is lower. So, okay, Melsky. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, I worked with all ages overseas, especially retirement age. Seriously, Nigel? Okay, remind me, bring this up in our next session, or I might start calling them salons, because I would like to know some of your wisdom on that. In fact, Nidra, and I don't know if you'd be interested, I'm thinking of if different members like Melsky, if you joined, I'd love to have you in the community here, the members. Maybe you could present like Nidra, maybe you could present literally for like 10 minutes and I would advertise it, let folks know, hey, we're going to actually have a presentation this week if you're interested. We're going to talk about this and this. But I love that, especially retirement age. It's the US government, so no age discrimination. Mhm. So maybe that is something I could look back into. Like I said, I felt with such volatile times, I think I would address this to Nidra. I wasn't sure about being on a military base during very volatile times. Um, Melsky, yeah, will be in Pogerdag. Oh, we're definitely gonna, yeah, 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 yeah. I want to get your impressions, Melsky. I think you will like it. And September 1st is coming. September 1st is coming. You're really close. You're really close. I watch him. Yeah, I know. Thank you. Listen, a lot of folks in all different communities that are not nomads or capitalists and not both together watch him. You can learn a lot from him. You just have to watch him with like, like this. You're like, hmm. And I find him funny, so I actually enjoy. Yep, Andrew Henderson. Yes, I subscribe to him and now have dual really solo. Wouldn't it be funny for him to have us on his channel? He wouldn't. Not, and I don't think for any like discriminatory. It's just we're not he's very clear and more power to him. He's clear. It's like, I want high net worth individuals. So yes, he gets views on YouTube. Maybe he gets 50,000, say. And maybe out of that 50,000, 30 become his clients. Hell, that's worth it. So I totally get it. I do find him pretentious. I loved when he was doing Live Like a King. Who else? Give me some hearts. Give me some hearts if you loved his Live Like a King. Oman. I think he did Oman. Live Like a King. Jordan. Where else did he do Live Like a King? He did Live Like a King somewhere in the Balkans. And he'd look at watches and cigars, and I'm like, okay. And then he'd find like a beauty queen to show him around the town. I just think he's a hoot. I have so much fun watching him. So, but yeah, solo traveler, I am so glad you have your dual. And it sounds like you're saying it was because of him. Yeah. I don't have dual citizenship, but I do. Wait a minute. Yes, I do. Oh my God. My brain, guys, I've been live talking for 2 hours straight, responding to questions and just phew, like no script, just like talking and responding live. Someone said politicians in the future like now are going to have to be able to just speak because she said because of AI, if you have a prompter, we're just going to be like, yeah, you're a robot. You don't even know what you're talking about. She said the proof, and not even just proof of proof of life, proof you're a real person is going to be if you can ad lib. If somebody asks you, and this was about the British Prime Minister, because apparently he gave his first speech. He did not have a prompter. He just spoke. So yeah, guys, my brain is getting fried, but I do have dual citizenship. I have Caribbean citizenship and I have American citizenship. So yes, and it was because of Andrew Henderson. So you see, as my mom would say, the Lord works in mysterious ways. Wait, I'm trying to show something and it won't. What happened to Steve's? Oh, you mean Rick Steves. Do you mean Rick Steves matching birthdays? Because he was about travel. That's why I think you may mean that. I'm not sure. Nigel says, I wish born and raised in the States. Okay. But Nigel, is this the question too? Do you have any heritage that, maybe you have Bahamian, I don't know how to say that, or you have Panamanian heritage, I wonder. That's what I'm saying. You could be born and raised here and still have yeah, like a parent or even a grandparent in some cases. Yeah, Rick Steves. I knew you met Rick Steves. I actually know he did get cancer. I think he's doing better, doing fine, but I think maybe he'd slowed down a little bit. But Rick Steves, yeah, he really brought so many Americans, I think, into travel. Thank you so much, Laura. Bye. Rick Steves. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, he has. Melski's all over this. 10th place, yes, because I had scrolled down. You're quick. You are. You are. You were very smart because you're getting your stuff together like this. Yeah, Deborah, right. We said Deborah, we definitely know. Melski, you learned Greek? Okay, I need to talk to you. You learned Greek. You know the phrase, it's Greek to me, right? Like Greek is another alphabet, Melski. Do you have it in your background? Are you Greek American? I'm trying to look at you up close. They make it hard to get Greek passport by ancestry. Wow. Okay, so it sounds like future. I have to, oh, you have to learn Greek. I'm sorry, Greek is hard. Check out oh my gosh, Luca Lampariello has a community of about language learning that I paid for a course, and then he has this community you stay in, once you bought the course. And he is a polyglot that speaks 15 languages, Melski. I know this is roundabout. There's a woman in there who has learned Greek. She's an older woman, and I don't know. Just if you Google him, you'll see. I'm just saying his community is very, very good. He takes you through his method, but this woman follows him and she's in the community and she has learned Greek like to quite a high level. She goes there, she's able to speak. TNK, that's what I said. It was six. So we have fallen to 10th. We have fallen to 10th. Thank you, Nidra. I don't want to say where my friend is from, but let's call it a state. Let's just call it a state that always wants to be its own country. That's all I'm going to say. And you guys, you can see the light changing. It is starting to get not dark, but um, she's from the state in America that I think has tried and wants to be its own nation. And that's why I'm like, girl, I'm from New York City. Okay. And we really do pizza well. I mean, obviously, there's bad pizza. There's bad pizza, there's tourist pizza, there's pizza with too much bad cheese. But overall, you can get good pizza in New York City. And so she kind of gave me the side eye. Exactly, Deborah. I know. It's pretty sad. It's pretty sad. All right. Yeah, an audio podcast. Let's do it. And then we may still be able to get her, Nidra, in just to present to the smaller community. But I feel like I'd like her info out generally. So yeah, if she is willing, I would love that. You'd be down for audio? Absolutely. So I'll interview you. And it's better for me. We don't have to do our hair. You know what I mean? No makeup. Ugh, simple. We could do it. We could be in our pajamas. What was that? Oh, somebody's moving something outside. I think they're gonna water the thing. So audio. Okay, last couple comments, guys. Hello, all. Lucille. Hey, Lucille. Coming on later from the PNC, Pacific Northwest. Yes. Yes. I'm sorry, Lucille, because I have to think New York City most. I have to think East Coast because if I go all the way to Pacific Northwest, then I'm starting my live really late for me, like late in the night, and then I don't have good light. But yeah, I'm so glad you're here, Lucille. And it's nice to see you from my other channel. Lucille, you may want to go back because I'm just about to end. Solo traveler. Of course, I'm a Trini. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Trini. Okay. She's got the flags. And you probably had told me, but just Trinidad, when I think of a strong Indian population and I don't know if there's any like I just feel like there's the community kind of is at peace with each other overall. But yeah, yeah, Trini. Melski's 57. Okay, Melski, you can join over 50. Um, yes. Now remember also, I do repeat stuff because solo, yeah. So not everybody sees every video. So sometimes, repeat stuff. And I appreciate that if you repeat stuff. It's fine. It's very helpful. Hey, Europats. Check out the Europats, you guys. They are an American couple who is moving to Albania. Guys, quickly tell us when is your arrival? What I really do like that they do, it's different. they do deep research on different Albanian towns and cities. They've done Durrës, I think they've done Elbasan, like they've done some really like maybe a little off the beaten path. I know they've done Vlora. I'm sure they've done Tirana. I'm pretty sure they've done Pogradec, Pogradec. Um, so check out their channel if you're interested in Albania, and they just do a lot of research. They're still in the US, but they're doing the research for themselves and also sharing it, right? And there appears to be really good research. So definitely check them out, the Europats. They are a couple. Um, he's not my cup of tea. He's triggering. Okay, wait. Okay, wait. This is so funny. All right. Congrats, Melski. Yes, yes. September 1st, she should arrive, I believe. Yeah, Pogradets. Nidra says, oh, he is Nidra. But like I said, I look at him like I'm like this. I'm like, did he really? You know? And he is what it is. I think a lot of it is show Nidra. That's why I kind of find him amusing. The New Yorker in me gets a little bit of bull. Now, maybe that was 5 years ago. I do think he's probably made his money. We're talking about nomad capitalists. I have seen him rise, right? He had acne and he was young and a little shiny faced kid 5, 6 years ago. Again, nomad capitalist. But I think his business has definitely grown, right? And he's been diligent, just like hammering that message, move abroad. Listen, you guys, go where you're treated best. I'm taking that. He has actually trademarked that, go where you're treated best. But it helped me. It helped me, as a working class Black woman who is not his audience, of high net worth individuals that he counsels for, like, I think 100,000 is his starting rate, something ridiculous, right? I'm talking about nomad capitalist Europats. If you've never heard of him, let me know if you've heard of him, Europats. So he's funny. I just take him with a grain of salt because I think some of it was posing, is what it is. I could tell some of it was just BS. And I'm just like watching him like, yeah, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then I saw him kind of grow into it and whatever. And he has properties around the world. I think he's got maybe 6 properties that he talks about. I think he actually has an apartment in Colombia that he's shown, and then he may have some other smaller properties. But I get info from him. So yeah. So Melski, yeah, check out that Luca Lampariello, his community. I'm in there, had a crush on him. He speaks 15 languages, like I said. And I was like, oh my God, you're amazing. How do you do it? Europats the Plan is next March. Right, Euro. Oh, I'm so sorry. The house is not sold yet. I am so sorry. I remember now you were having some trouble. Nidra, who is in my community here, is also put her house on the market. She just put her house. Let's just a moment of silence and prayer for houses selling. I literally am seeing the sale sign, like sold, the sold sign, and in a stake, like, on the stick and like in front of both of your houses, Europats and Nidra. Nidra has said that where she is, she's seeing houses sell in about a month to 6 weeks. So Europats, hopefully it'll sell for you. I truly hope it does. Oh yeah, Solo Traveler says, "Hi, Europats. I've really enjoyed your content, and I think you're both hilarious and helpful." I love that crossover. I love it. Guys, hold on. Let me turn on. Oh, is that too much light? It's okay. It's okay. I love that crossover. I love it. I love it. I love it. And they are funny. They are funny. Just sitting sipping tea. I have. I can't afford his taste. I know, but he's funny, right? You got to admit he's funny. He's a trip. He's a trip. Live like a king in Panama. I forget where else he did. He definitely did a Middle East country. I think it was Oman, which I've actually heard really good things about Oman. If I had it in me to move to the Middle East, you guys, I've heard really good things about Oman. The culture, They really are keeping some like some good values is the sense I get. But I'd have to do the teaching route, and I'm just so burnt out on teaching in a classroom. And I'm, as a new friend said to me, a Jersey girl who I'm becoming friends with, she said, "Listen, I hustled, and I'm tired. I'm not trying to." I was giving her business ideas because I can't help it. And she's like, "I'm not Viv. I'm not trying to really work." She's on her retirement. Can't afford his taste. Yep. Who can? Who can, Europats? Who can? Exact. Thank you, Lucille. That is the word I couldn't get, pretentious. But see, I'm amused by pretentious because I truly, if you are a wealthy person and you are forthright and you're like you are wealthy, but you're not pretentious about it. I'm cool with you, as long as you're not, let's just say Elon Musk, and not even that level. I have no problem with someone being wealthy, especially if they have earned it in a ethical way. Honestly, right? It's fine. I'm not going to blame them for capitalism or whatever. But it's the pretentiousness, Lucille. And that's the word. When I first watched him, I'm like, please. You're full of, And then I'd see a new title. I'm like, wait, what's he talking about? But it's because of him. And Solo Traveler said, because of him, we have passports, 2 passports. So he is educating. He's educating the masses whether or not he likes it. Andrew said his dad told him, "Go where you're treated best," when he was younger. Doesn't it? It speaks to you. Yeah, and actually helped me make the decision not to return to the US. Yeah, that is really deep. Thank you. Okay, guys, I am getting hungry, which is good. I'm working on my diet, and again, I know it's not a diet channel, and I don't wanna confuse the algorithm, but, I am the fruits and veggies in Albania are very good. There are some issues with the listen, I don't even know how to put it, with products that they may use on them, but my general sense and what everyone has shared with me, and my sense is that the produce, it's just pretty much coming out of the ground. Do they look at what the runoff is? You see what I'm saying? Do they have rules about just like in the US, we have crazy stuff happening. We have that disease that's giving people explosive diarrhea. We're not going to talk about that. That's my one worry with Albania, but the food quality, the flavor is good. The food is fresh. Figs, amazing, delicious, like candy. When things come in season in Albania, though, you also really see it, like eggplants. These tiny eggplants are clearly in season. Cherries were in season. The cherries were everywhere. I love that. I love seeing the seasonal rollout, different than America, because in America, you can get everything. You can get it pretty much when you want it. Oh, I want cherries in December. I want them now, or whatever, right? In Albania, you see the food cycle kind of come through, and they seem to love spinach. And I'm trying to cut down because of oxalates. Guys, I can't get kale for the life of me. If anybody Albanian is watching this, tell me where I can get kale. Yeah, I would really love because I know you really want to sell it and be able to move and do what you want to do. Oh, okay. Solo, you're gonna need to sell. Wow. Isn't that nice? Europath, she said, "You really inspired me to pull the trigger." Nice. So sometimes you're like, "Who's watching? Am I affecting anyone?" And you find out you are. Probably his daddy's money to start up. Listen, I actually probably my sense is, yeah, they probably had some. I think a lot of the stuff his business is a lot of online, and a lot of times if your business is online, but you're right, he had to pay, I know he hired in Eastern Europe a lot, like he hired in lower cost countries. He definitely said that, he shared that. So even 5 years ago, he was hiring in like Poland, he was hiring in Romania, so he was hiring, um, in countries where he could pay less. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, yeah. You guys, it was so nice hanging out with you. Yeah, Lucille, you really can get good fresh food at a really good price in Romania. I would say for me as a person, when you think about the impact of your diet. Now, I don't eat a lot of meat. If I go to a restaurant, I if so I can't vouch for the quality of the beef. I know the guys in Saranda. I'm blocking their names, but the couple who's in Saranda, apparently, I think it's Sam. He wears earrings sometimes. He's not happy with the way they cut the beef because he says they leave like they don't know how to do the cuts right, you know. So I'm not a big like steak eater. I don't think I've had steak in maybe 12 years. Eh, but he's upset with Albania about the beef and the cutting of the beef and the butchering of the beef, but whatever. Um, you know, and last one. All right. Guys, it was so nice to hang out with you. It really was. I've been live for 2.5 hours. Europats, thank you for joining my live. And I'm going to check out you guys maybe getting ready to go live. Because the weekend is a really good time. So I'll check out and see. Maybe I'll eat my pizza. Not as good as New York City pizza, but I'll eat my pizza. And I'm definitely gonna make like a salad and some veggies. Um, Another thing Albanians like, I've said this before, that I love, you guys, Europats, you'll see, walnuts is like their nut. And so a simple dessert in a restaurant, in a rustic restaurant, they'll bring you walnuts to crack and they bring you honey. Have you guys heard about that? Europats, they bring you, my God, this honey was like, it was like a medicinal honey. I'm not being shady. It wasn't just sweet. It had like a herbal, and the guy's like, and he brought you the nutcracker and you just dip so just walnuts with honey. It was delicious. Two ingredients, right? So you don't, it didn't have thiophosphate or caloric chloride, mezzanine. It didn't have any of that. It was just a walnut and honey. So when you guys get here, Europats, you'll see that. That's in the rustic restaurants. Thank you, my love. So nice to see you. So nice to see you. Yeah, Europats, do you have a live? We want to know. We'll go over there. We'll like, what is that called when a bunch of people show up at a place? You guys, the kids are doing it in an hour and a half. All right, Europats, I'm going to be in there. That's awesome. That's awesome. Love you guys. Thank you so much for your support and just being here, keeping me company. Now I'm going to go eat. Ciao. Ciao, Bella.